Guoba here with a guide on Luocha, the newest 5-star in Star Rail. He's a 5-star imaginary abundance unit and has really shown us what a limited abundance can do. He easily out-heals his competition and has incredible utility. Just to preface, from the pre-release guide video, multiple enemies hit won't actually heal multiple times, they removed it due to the new AoE heal he provides. Nevertheless, this doesn't change his synergies, and I have some new information and takes on Luocha, including number and Eidolon reviews. He's a very versatile and awesome unit to have, an amazing pickup for any account, even better if you lack Value and Japad. I will discuss his stats, abilities and how they work, traces and Eidolons, and then his pros and cons. We will then discuss his best relics and lycones, as well as his best rotations, where we will discuss how to have near perfect talent uptime, and then team synergies and team compositions. Yukong will be coming tomorrow, so let's get started with Luocha. So he's a 5-star imaginary unit, we know this, and he's part of the limited banner 5 stars. He follows the abundance path, which is a dedicated healer class, but he provides more than just heals, as we will see. At level 80 he has a high base HP of 1280, a very high base attack of 756, and a low base defense of 363. His base speed is 101 and he has an energy cost of 100. As an abundance unit, he has a taunt value of 100, which is equal to a 23% chance of being hit in a standard team. His health is thus the 5th highest in the game, and he shares the highest attack in the game alongside Himiko. But he does have the 3rd lowest defense in the game to compensate. His speed is average, but anything above 100 is nice, and his energy cost is a nice low 100. Let's review his abilities and how they function. Thorns of the Abyss is his basic attack, doing a standard amount of imaginary damage to a single enemy, dealing 30 toughness damage, regenerating 20 energy for Luocha, and 1 skill point for the team. Let's talk about his talent next, as his skill and ultimate will activate it. Cycle of Life will activate after reaching 2 stacks of Abyss Flower, deploying his healing field. When any enemy in that field is attacked by an ally, they will restore a percentage of Luocha's attack, alongside a flat bonus as health. It will last for 2 of Luocha's turns, so any ally that spams turns before him can heal more, but it doesn't mean you should build him no speed, it's just a bonus. At great investment, this will heal 1k health to the attacker per attack, which is pretty insane for an off-field heal. This will also get an AoE heal buff when we get his traces. This talent will not gain stacks when it is active, so any skill or any ultimate when the field is up will not contribute stacks for the next field. His skill, Prayer of Abyss Flower, is a restore skill. It will immediately restore an ally's HP by a percentage of his attack plus a flat bonus at a much higher multiplier than his talent. Then he will gain a stack of Abyss Flower provided his talent is not activated. This will regenerate 30 energy and consume 1 skill point. When an ally drops past 50% of their health from anything, including damage over time even during their turn, Luocha will cut in and heal them with this skill, and we will call this an emergency skill use. This emergency skill consumes no skill point and still regenerates the 30 energy and still gains his stack of Abyss Flower. This skill at great investment can heal 4000 HP, which is more healing than you'll need right now. His ultimate is Death Wish and has an energy cost of 100. It will remove 1 buff from all enemies, which is amazing, and deal imaginary damage to all enemies, and grant a stack of Abyss Flower. This will deal 60 toughness damage to all enemies and refund 5 energy. Finally, his technique is Mercy of a Fool, and it is a buffing technique, so you can stack buffs and use attacking techniques just afterwards. After using it, his talent will be activated instantly at the start of the next battle, so you get a free 2 turns of his off-field healing, and can prepare for the next rotation. Not bad. Let's see his traces, which completely buff and change his kit to be even stronger. Cleansing Revival is his first Ascension passive, and when this skill is triggered, emergency or manual use, it will cleanse 1 debuff from a target ally. It's already insane to have cleanse, but off-field cleansing makes him so strong. The amount of times that this has helped me is too many to count. You can have an enemy deal a ton of damage to you and apply a nasty debuff, and Luocha will heal you back to full and get rid of this debuff. Sanctified is his 2nd Ascension passive, and when any enemy in his talent field is attacked by an ally, all allies apart from the healer will restore 7% of Luocha's attack plus 93. This is actually a really good amount of healing, about 400 per ally, and this is on every attack. So now every attack from an ally will heal 1k for themselves and 400 for each ally. His final Ascension passive is Through the Valley, and it will give him a 70% chance to resist CC debuffs, which is crowd control debuffs. This is different to effect resistance, remember. Effect resistance is another multiplier that effect hit rate and base chance multiplies against. Just like enemies at max level have 40% effect resistance, enemies also have 32% effect hit rate. So against Luocha's 70% CC debuff and a 100 base chance to apply said CC, Luocha has only a 40% chance of being CC'd by an enemy. Very strong trace. The only way to get a 0% chance of being debuffed or CC'd is having 100% effect resistance, which we aren't building. His trace bonuses are in attack percent, perfect, he's very high base attack. His other trace bonus is in HP, which is also amazing, and defense percent, which are both really nice to further boost his tankiness as a support. For trace priority, level his skill and talent, and his basics and ultimate don't need investment. He doesn't do much damage even with investment. You can still level them if you want some extra damage though. Now let's see his Eidolons, which completely shift his character identity. His E1 will give all allies a 20% attack boost when his talent is up. This is about half a main stat for all allies and is a decent boost. It's a good starting Eidolon, but nothing amazing to go for if you're a low spender. Remember, he won't have his talent up all the time. He'll have about a 66% uptime to a bit better depending on how you use him. So this 20% attack boost actually turns out to be about 13% and is equal to just under 2 fleet of the Aegis sets. His second Eidolon will give his skill 2 effects depending on the target ally's HP. At half HP, he gets a 30% healing boost to his skill, which is pretty unneeded due to his already high healing, but may be good on super high HP units. Over half HP, he gives the ally a shield equal to 18% of his attack plus 240 flat bonus, hitting nearly 1k of a shield at good investment, which is really not bad. The thing with this Eidolon is you don't manually use skill often in his rotation, so you won't see this shield much. And the healing percent is overwhelming. It is a nice buff when you can use it though. For example, when you need to cleanse, or if an ally goes under 50% and somehow heals up before Luocha emergency skills. Also a big note that this is anti-synergy with Blade, who he normally has amazing synergy with. If he ever heals Blade when above 50% HP, which can happen if Blade counters and heals back up, then Blade will get a shield and lose DPS output. Now this is all following his pre-release kit, where he needs to take damage to do damage. So having a shield will definitely ruin his DPS output, and E2 is not recommended if you want Blade. Anyway, E2, Luocha now becomes a pseudo-preservation unit. At E4, enemies have a weakened multiplier that only Sampo and Natasha could apply until now. Enemies will now deal 12% less damage to you, which is awesome for more survivability. Finally, E6, when his ultimate is used, all enemies type resistance will be reduced by 20% for 2 turns. At E6, you're probably geared towards a 2-turn rotation, so this is kind of a 20% permanent resistance reduction. It's about a 1.2 to 1.33 times damage increase for the whole team. It's an OP buff, but requires 7 Luochas to get to, and remember Silverwolf pretty much has this at E0, and for specific elements she has a much stronger buff. Anyway, at E6, combined with E4, he becomes a pseudo Nihility unit. So at E6 in total, he gets a Harmony buff, a Preservation shield, a Weaken debuff, and a Nihility or Resistance type debuff. Really makes you think. So let's talk about his pros and cons. First, we have the best healing output in the game. If you've played with him or even attempted healing calculations, his healing beats Natasha and Bailu. Next, we have immense utility. Cleansing allies on and off build is already crazy, and then you insert an AoE buff removal that beats Pella's secondary role by far. Next, we have the easiest build requirements in the game in my opinion. You only need to invest in his healing, and his damage is subpar, and even then experience has shown that his healing doesn't even need maxing. Yanqing is super easy to build for DPS, and so Luocha is probably the easiest support to build. To follow with easy build requirements, we also have a great versatility on top of free-to-play friendly lightguns. We will discuss this later in the lightgun section, but he can run a ton of different ones and is very versatile. Amazing base stats is another one. He's somewhat tanky, and having the highest base attack in the game is another reason why his healing is so good. Next, we have Imaginary type. Now we are at 3 Imaginary type units, and he provides a decent amount of toughness damage due to his skill point positive playstyle and low energy cost, which are both also pros. He can also be a solo sustain as predicted, meaning you don't need a preservation unit and can bring pure damage. Finally, we don't need to put his signature. It is not as OP of an increase as Zila and Jinyuan's cones. For cons, we unironically have too much healing. He provides so much healing that it's difficult to decide where his stats should go into. People are saying crit, which I don't recommend. I would recommend going into more tanky setups. We also have restrictive and clunky rotations. If done right, his rotation is clean, it's juicy, but if you desync and have an emergency skill go off during his talent uptime, you'll need to skill outside of his talent alongside his ultimate. We'll discuss this more in the rotation section. This means that using skill and ultimate during his talent uptime is usually a bad idea, but if you really need that heal, or cleanse, or buff removal, go ahead. Finally, we have a weird speed problem. We want him to be fast for skill point generation, but not too fast that his downtime affects our allies. We want him to be fast for emergency skills, but not too fast that he does no heals, but then again, healing power shouldn't be a problem for him. Now let's discuss relics. As for his best relics, it's difficult, but all of these sets work and they are 4-piece musketeer, 4-piece healer, and a 2-piece combo of both. In my opinion, when well built, he doesn't need the 10% healing from the healer set, and the 4-piece bonus is a drop in the ocean for skill points, which he will generate a ton of. The 4-piece musketeer boosts his speed to 107 and provides him with some extra damage, though negligible. We'd run it for the speed, and the attack percent benefits his heals and damage. For plain ornaments, you want to go the Fleet of the Aegis set. Space Seeing Station also works for more heals and damage. Sprightly Von Quack can also allow a very quick talent activation, but is not needed for the NG part. For main stats, outgoing healing percent or attack percent for the chest. It depends if you care about the extra healing or damage, as healing percent will always be better for healing. For boots, I recommend going speed. For plain sphere, attack percent or defense percent piece. For rope, NG rope is recommended, but attack percent rope can be used with certain rotations and light cones, though I would just recommend to just go NG rope. For subs, attack percent, speed, defense percent, and effect resistance are all great. I don't recommend going crit on his stats, as they'll provide barely any damage increase for a loss of any defensive stats or healing, and we will start getting chunky characters with the appearance of Blade and endgame health balls. Effect resistance is much more important than critting, as losing your healing will lose you the battle. Without any crit and only versus at least 3 enemies, the damage will be even lower versus 1, his damage over 13 turns is equal to 1.5 Zealous skills, which is, yeah. For Lycons, we have multiple paths he can go. First, you decide between NG for himself, healing, and team utility. If you choose NG for himself, you want to grab his signature or post-op conversation at S4. At S4, post-op conversation becomes equal to his signature for the NG generation, but pales in comparison to the rest of the benefits. Though this means that you don't need to pull his signature, which is really nice. These two light guns can promote a 2-turn rotation if lucky, and we'll go over that in a bit. If you choose healing, you'll need an NG rope, and perfect timing is great for him and promotes effect resistant substats to further decrease the chance of being CC'd and debuffed. If you choose team utility, you choose between team energy and team skill points, and team utility light cones will require an NG rope. So for team energy, you'd go for quid pro quo, and with good speed he'd be generating a lot of free energy for the squad, nearly 2 ultimates worth. Shed Feeling is bad on him. His emergency skills won't trigger the energy from its passive, but maybe this gets fixed in the future. For team skill points, you go Multiplication, which I've been quietly shilling since the start of the game. It is a 3-star light cone and will advance you forward by 20% each basic, which he will be doing a ton of. The 3-star stats are not to worry about due to his high base character stats, but he might need some more defensive substats to compensate. This light cone is very underrated, and in a basic spamming playstyle this is very strong. For Luocha, in a 2 basic, 1 skill rotation, Multiplication is equivalent to a speed boost of 16, and at 120 speed will grant him 2 more turns and thus 2 more skill points for the team, and thus more healing. For rotations, you want to minimize your talent downtime. If you want to have near perfect uptime, S4 post-op or S1 echoes and an energy rope are required. You can do 2 basics and skill outside of the talent duration into an ultimate to get it back up. If you can get an emergency skill off outside your field's duration, this is where it becomes a 2-turn, and it's even better. Echoes only needs 1 target to work, as if Hoyoverse calculated it perfectly. Apart from that, 3-turn rotations will be the way and works on any light cone provided you have an NG rope. If you get an emergency skill, which is incredibly easy as he will be a solo sustained unit, you can do 2 basics during your talent, and then basic again, and you'll have your ultimate up. If you get the emergency skill during your talent, you will skill instead after your talent is finished, and this requires no NG rope, but for reliability we go NG rope. For synergies, we have anyone that can cheat turns or attack multiple times. Zila's Resurgence, Yanqing's follow-ups, Clara's counters, Jingyuan's Lightning Lord, Sushang's ultimate push-up. Let's just say Luocha might be a bit too good for healing. Note that it's per attack instance, and not per hit, that you will be getting the heals from his talent. For team compositions, he will provide an insane solo sustain role. You plop him down and you build your desired team. So you can go for risky hypercarry teams without worrying about sustain. This for example can be a hunt with 2 harmony. Two teams I've been loving are Mono Imaginary and a Jingyuan Hypercarry setup. Mono Imaginary performs so nicely due to Yukong and Luocha just coming out, and the damage from Well Carry is pretty decent, and all the tools to deal damage in general alongside Silverwolf can perform well in high-tech Memory of Chaos. The second team is Jingyuan Hypercarry. Now the problem he had is pretty much the lack of Luocha. His major problem is CC, and the problem he used to have with this team was the current solo sustain units. If he gets CC'd, his Lightning Lord will not go and will reset their actual value. Japata or Bailu can sustain, but what happens when Jingyuan gets CC'd? And of course Natasha can cleanse if you somehow run her solo sustain, but it requires a skill point and you have to wait for her turn. Jingyuan might end up just not going. And since you have to speed tune Jingyuan, it's rough for Natasha. Luocha, however, can cleanse and fully heal Jingyuan if he face tanks a strong CC here, from example Kokalia or the Sanctioned Robot. So the team is Asta, Jingyuan, Tingyun, and Luocha. Using Asta and putting Jingyuan at 117 speed allows him to run attack percent boots, increasing his damage over the normal 141 speed Jingyuan when not running Bronya or Asta. With Tingyun on a 3-turn ult rotation, Jingyuan can easily get tons of Lightning Lord attacks with high damage buffs from the team. This team is very fast. You have Asta's ultimate, the Musketeer sets, Tingyun's speed buffs, and potentially an Echo's Light Cone on Luocha. You'll be spamming attacks and Lightning Lords like crazy and not be dying. And yes, even Tingyun won't be dying. Anyway, that's it for Luocha. If you liked and learned something, like and consider subscribing. And stay tuned for the Yukon guide, there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Thanks for watching, have a Guoba day.